welcome back to the next episode. I have just come back from my first scan, which was a dating scan. So I went with Jake today, with my husband, and it was a very lovely experience, and I just wanted to talk about it. There's probably a lot of people who, for their first child, have never been to one, and I thought it would be helpful to understand what I had to do, the process of it, and how it felt. And yeah, let's talk about it. So my appointment was at 1:40 today. I was at work this morning, had a half day. Jake was off work today, and going back, we live just behind the back of the hospital where we live, so we took advantage of the weather and walked over there. So the very first thing you need to know for having your scan is you need to have a full bladder. On your notes, if you're using an app like Badger Notes, which, like I said, in the UK is generally what they use, they will put a little line at the bottom about like additional notes, and they will say make sure you have a full bladder. And the reason for this is because when they do the scan, it helps to show the baby, particularly in early pregnancy, because the baby isn't as big as it would be if you were doing a 12-week or a 20-week. The bladder being full helps them to see the baby in a better light, and a much clearer picture. So I went in, I had my scan date come through quite early, because initially when I found out I was pregnant, when you fill in your form, your like referral form, it asks you about your last menstrual cycle, but it's not just a case of like when you last had a period, it's your whole cycle, and I wasn't quite sure where I fell on that. And you can leave a blank if you're not sure. So because I left it blank, I think they got me booked in earlier just because they weren't 100% sure how far along I was, and nor was I. So going into this, I was under the impression I was between 7 to 8 weeks, which I said to the gentleman doing the scan. So I went in with that figure in mind, had a full bladder, was quite uncomfortable during the scan, not because it was painful or anything, just because when you really, really need to use the toilet and someone's pushing exactly where your bladder is, it's just really makes you want to wee. So it was only for maybe like a minute or two that the pressure was there, and he did apologise for the pressure and said it won't be long, and he was really sweet. Did all that, and they get you to lie down. You can go in obviously with someone, so with your partner or your mum or your birthing partner or whoever, or sister, brother, friend, whoever you want with you, because it's quite a small room. And you lay on this bed, and the person doing the scan is either to your right or left. In my case, he was to my right, my husband was to my left, and on the wall that we're facing, which is above the door, near the door when we come in, you face that wall and it's up there for you to see. And the person doing the scan has their own screen they're looking at, and they've got like a little dial clicky thing where they take measurements. So you lie on that, you have the gel put on, just can be quite cold. You just lie there, and they have a good route around. They apply quite a lot of pressure just to get a really good feel of the area, check all around the womb, make sure, not just checking for baby, they're checking to make sure that the sac is there, that the umbilical cord is there, that there is only one, or there could be 2 or 3, and they check all of that, and they go from on top, locate the baby, left to right, all around, make sure everything is all good. They also take measurements while they do this, so from like head to rump, I think is what they say, which is just top to bottom. And they do this from all angles, and they input this into a system, and then that tells them roughly the date, how far along you are. So the whole process from me going in, my appointment was at 1:40, but there was a bit of a delay, so I didn't get seen until about 1:55-ish. And the whole process from start to finish was probably about 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because we asked a few questions at the end as well. But he was really lovely, really knowledgeable. Obviously, it's still quite early. We're not over the first trimester yet. But the experience was lovely. It was so nice to see it, and it was very surreal to see it, knowing that I do have a baby inside of me growing. It's very weird, but nice feelings. It was really nice feelings. So I'll just show you. You do get a scan picture. So this is my scan picture. You can see. So it's very, very, at this point you can't really tell that there's much of a baby, but the head is down this end here, down here. And then the umbilical cord is up here. And then baby is all like tucked under. So at this point, they are starting to take the form of a baby, and everything's all good. And also they checked their heartbeat. The heartbeat was all fine, it was there. But it is very early still for them to be able to have a really clear picture, which is why you then have a 12-week scan. So as I said, I went into this thinking I was 7 to 8 weeks pregnant. He did all the testing, put all the numbers in, got my report up and my form up, and he said, actually, I think you're 9 weeks pregnant. So I'm a week further along than I thought I was. And I was going off of the middle to lower bracket of where I thought I was. So it makes sense. I had a suspicion I was further along than I thought. So that is the case. So I have been, after the appointment, they check everything's okay. Everything was okay for me. Size-wise was fine, heartbeat was fine. There's definitely only one. We did check that because me and my husband were having a bit of a panic about, oh my God, what if there's two? There's definitely only one. He said single baby, and he looked all around, there's definitely only one. So that was all fine. So at the end of the appointment, we got told to go and have a sit down, and they were going to print a report for us just so we had a record of it. And it basically just details what they did and what was found. And in our instance, nothing was found, so it was everything normal. Check the heartbeat, everything normal. And once you got the report, I went to the reception afterwards, and the gentleman said, pop to reception, and now that we know how many weeks along you are, we can then book you in for your 12 weeks. So I was under the impression that would be another 4 weeks time, but actually because I'm 9 weeks pregnant now, it will be in 3 weeks time. So my next appointment for my 12-week scan is on 17th of March, which is my best friend's birthday actually, St. Patrick's Day. So we've got a morning appointment. The notes are going to be sent to my app, but I haven't checked yet to see if there's any requirements. I'm assuming I'll probably have to have a full bladder again because it is still technically classed as early because it's the first trimester. I'll have to check that. And I'm pretty sure at the 12 week they also are doing more blood tests to check for Down syndrome, Edwards, and I think it's called Patels. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But to check for birth defects, which I consented to. I want all that testing done. So I'll have that done, I believe, on the 12 weeks. So it'll be bloods as well as 12-week scan, and they'll be able to get a better picture of everything. And I'll probably get some more pictures then as well. So now that I've got my first scan done, everything was good, I can now start telling more people. So last week, we told my father and mother-in-law, so Jake's parents now know, and we have said to them, we still haven't told everybody yet. So at this moment in time, family-wise, it is just my mum and Jake's parents that know. We are going to tell my siblings, my brother and my sister, on Thursday. I'm seeing my sister in person on Thursday. I'm probably not going to be able to see my brother in person just because he doesn't live that close. And because of work, trying to find times when he's free is quite difficult. And also my brother and my brother-in-law are going away to Thailand in a couple of days, and then they're going to be gone for 2 weeks. and I really don't want to wait 2 weeks to tell them, or tell them when they're on holiday. So I'm going to tell my sister face to face with my scan picture, and then I'll probably take a photo of the scan and pop it in my family chat so that my brother can see it. And then once I've told them, I will tell my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, some of my dad's family, just like family that we're close to that I want to know. And obviously we've got Jake's brother as well, so still got some family members to tell, but like I said, trying to tell people in the right order is important. And it's big news, so I don't really want to do it over the phone unless I have no other way. I still need to tell my best friend as well, and I'm hoping I can see her really soon. I might ask her if she's free this week actually, so that I can show her, because she will want to know. And then we can let everyone else know. So it's good to know that so far everything is as it should be. I'm definitely starting to feel a lot less sick, which I'm all for. It's been like last week, not so much toward the end, but the beginning of last week when me and Jake went away for a couple of days. I felt really bad, like the Sunday before, in my last video, I just felt awful. I had that near fainting episode. Like I don't know what was up with me, but the fatigue was really, really hitting me. And it has started to improve. The sickness is starting to improve a lot. I'm still using my water and cracker methods on days. This morning actually, I had a bit of a sicky start. Wasn't sick, but just sometimes I'll get waves, maybe for like half an hour to an hour, I'll just feel really intensely sick. And this morning was one of those mornings, and I got into work and just had to down water and nibble on my crackers, and after about 45 minutes it went away. And I've been fine since. So the sickness is going, which is great. My indigestion and my bloating, I feel like, is starting to ease. I'm definitely getting better at making better choices with food, because now I'm at a point where I can kind of know, not know, but I can kind of guess which foods are going to react badly. So I'm trying to have stuff that's healthier for you, obviously. Trying to reduce my carbs if I can. If I'm having carbs, have a smaller portion. Trying to focus more on protein and fibre. Trying to drink a lot of water. I mean, I have been drinking a lot of water, but just making sure my water intake is up there. Using electrolyte drinks has been really helpful, particularly on days where my sickness has been really bad and I don't really want to eat, or if I just feel really dehydrated. That's a big bit of advice I would give to you guys watching. Electrolyte drinks are amazing, but obviously be careful of sugar and things like that, particularly if you have issues with sugar. And that's been kind of it. I have been having achy back a little bit. I think this is partially down to the way I've been sleeping. My sleep was quite bad for a bit, for about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's improving, but it seems like every other night I'll kind of revert back, where I'll get up to use the bathroom as standard, like twice a night, and then on the second time I just can't seem to get back to sleep, or I really struggle, or I'm really hot. So yeah, it's just trying to figure out methods to go back to sleep. I mean, realistically, I should probably just get up and go downstairs when I can't sleep, but on days where I've got work in the morning, I just can't be bothered. So yeah, sleep is ongoing battle. Here and there on some days, it's not as bad as it was by any means, but I'm still trying to figure out what to do. When we were in the hospital today, actually, there was a screen up about giving advice and stuff, and particularly about sleeping, and how lying on the left side is better. And I am a side sleeper, but I generally lie on my right, so I'm going to try and sleep on my left and see if that helps, particularly with indigestion and things like that, because it avoids, or it stops your stomach acids coming back up on your right, it's more likely you're going to get acid reflux. So on days where I'm feeling quite full or bloated, it'll probably be quite helpful. So I'm going to attempt that tonight, to lie on my left hand side and see if that makes a difference. But symptom wise, everything's sort of starting to calm down, which makes sense because I am towards the end of my first trimester now. So reading up about symptoms, it seems as though it peaked when it said it would, between sort of 6 to 7 weeks. Well, actually, it was a bit later for me because last week I was 8 weeks, not 7 weeks. So apart from last week being a particularly tiring week, everything seems to have followed what other people have said about sort of it peaking in certain times. So I'm hoping my sickness will eventually drop off completely. My bloating will get even better. My sleep will improve, and hopefully I'll stop being as achy as I am. There isn't really much more to say. I think I've been quite lucky in getting away with a lot of intense symptoms in the first trimester. Sorry, itchy nose. And I'm just hopeful for my 12-week scan that everything's okay. I can't foresee there being any issues, but obviously when it comes to birth defects, you really don't know. I will say that having these tests for the birth defects, you do have to consent to them. So when I went for my first bloods a couple of weeks ago on the 10th of February, just for my general health check, and they take your bloods, they ask your permission, because they will not only check all of your levels, they will also check for these birth defects when you're far enough along to have them, which is the 12-week mark. So if you say, no, I don't want those, then they won't do them. You have to consent to them. And you don't have to have them, that's the other thing as well. You don't have to have them. But I think for me and for my husband, we both agreed that we would want to know, because it would help us make an informed decision on what to do for the future. So I would recommend you get it done, but obviously it's completely your choice. So yeah, hopefully that will all come back fine. All of my levels were fine. I did briefly talked about that. Oh, did I? Did I briefly talk about that? I don't know that I did. Very quickly then, whilst I'm here, I'll just recap it because I can't remember if I mentioned it. I spoke about when I went for my appointment on the 10th about them doing my bloods and checking that everything was okay. They have to check it as a baseline and make sure you're not lacking anything in case you need supplements. And I mentioned that my fatigue was quite bad, that I was getting some dizziness, and I was concerned that I would need extra iron because I am anemic. And my results came back, and weirdly my iron was completely within range. So I'm guessing the fatigue was just from being pregnant. There was one thing out of range. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. It was only minorly, and I think it was to do with my white blood cells and my antibodies. And I think that was because at the time I think I had a little bit of a cold, which would make sense as to why that was a bit lower, because it indicates I was fighting something off. I feel absolutely fine now. So I guarantee that if I had that test done again, it would be within range. And they did say that if there was anything of concern, that they would ring me by the weekend of that week of the 10th. And a week passed, I didn't hear anything, and I still haven't heard anything. So I doubt there was anything there of concern. They'll likely monitor my blood levels as I go on, particularly me being anemic. But everything came back normal, so that's really positive. So I just hope that I don't need to be supplemented for anything else. I take my supplements anyway, my Pregnacare. I have other supplements, but I'm not taking at the moment because I wanted my baseline to be as accurate as possible. So I may need supplements as the pregnancy goes on and as it's a bit more intense in my body. So we'll see. But yeah, my bloods came back absolutely fine. Scan was absolutely fine. It was a really lovely experience. If you're able to go with your partner, I think that's a really lovely thing to do, for you both to be involved, because when you're pregnant, there isn't really much your partner can do for you other than support you. And being present is more supportive than I think a lot of people realise. So for people watching this who aren't the pregnant one but are in a relationship where they are the supportive one, please go if you can with your partner, whether it's a romantic partner or whatever, with your partner, and just support them, because it can be quite daunting when it's your first time. You know, you go into this room and you're used to seeing the equipment probably from like videos and TV and things, but it's a lovely experience to actually see your baby for the first time and know that that's in your partner like right now. So it was a very lovely feeling, and yeah, I hope that was insightful. I feel like I waffled on a little bit there, but just keep going, and looking after yourself is the best thing. Making sure you're eating healthy, making sure you're drinking plenty. Particularly, like I said, for these scans, you need to be drinking a lot, have a full bladder, don't go to the toilet if you can manage it. It makes it a lot easier for them to see, and it means that your appointment is quicker because you're in and out rather than having to really push on your bladder or make you drink water, go outside, then come back in. So drink plenty of water. So I will update you guys when I can. I don't have any appointments now until March, but obviously if my symptoms change or if something happens week by week, I'll probably do a little update once I've told some more family members and let you know how that went. And then when I do that, I'll give you any updates on symptoms. But at the moment, I think everything's settling and everything is calm, and I'm just gonna enjoy that because I know it won't be for forever. So everything's good at the moment, and I will update you when I can. Catch you in the next one.